Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my week reading update for, what is it, December 17th, 2023. So, Cooper is here with me. He got settled, right? So it's getting settled. That's funny. I don't know how long he'll last. So this was a good reading week. I was trying to finish things off and trying to get through some things. I finished my last reread that I wanted to make sure I did DNF a book. I did read some stuff from the library, or I'm in the process of reading stuff from the library that I probably shouldn't have, considering I'm doing the Read What You Own. But they came through, and I'm trying to get through stuff to get off my library list because I'm trying not to use it as often, except in getting books off my physical TBR. So, I think other than that, there's not much else. It was a long week because I had to work 5 days. And the next 3 weeks, I will be doing partial day weeks, so that'll be really nice. We have this next Friday off, and then we have Monday. I took Tuesday off, so next week I only have to work 3 days. And then the week after, we get New Year's off, so then I have to work 4 days. And then after that, I don't have a holiday until Memorial Day, so it'll be kind of a famine after that. But the next few weeks are really nice because I'll be home for most of them except for maybe Christmas Eve. But that'll be kind of how that goes. So, yes, we'll get started then. So let's talk about the books that I finished, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. Because it's always an ups. I never know for sure because I'm definitely a mood reader. So the only one I want to talk about, as in that I DNF'd, was The Time of Contempt by Andrzej Sapkowski. So this is the book, the second novel or the fourth in the series of The Witcher. So I got the library audiobook by I think it was Peter Kenny, and that wasn't a problem because I had listened to The Blood of Elves last month, I believe. But I wanted to, this is the last one I owned physically that I wanted to try, and I was kind of iffy on continuing the series after that book. I liked the short stories overall, but again, it's not like, this is like not a passion of mine. I don't play the game. I don't have a connection to this all that much. So the only two books I owned are Sword of Destiny, which is the second book of novellas or short stories. And then I had Time of Contempt. And so my brother had borrowed this from me and I gave it back to me. So, and I had borrowed his Blood of Elves. So I read that and finally gave it back to him. And I decided I better try this now, pretty soon after I had read the other one, to decide what I want to do. And I got 56 pages in and I was just like, nah, I just don't care. I think it's fine. I think it's really action heavy, which is fine. I just find I want to follow Geralt, like as in what he was doing in the novellas, where he was having adventures and things like that. And this is, it's just the way the stories are built are just not for me. And it's not, again, not bad. It was just, I have too many books on my TBR and too many books I wanted to get to keep this, and I'm not going to come back to this. So I'm going to be getting rid of both of the books that I do own and pass them on. That is it. So that's the only thing I DNF'd. I almost DNF'd another book, but I will talk about that in a minute. So I did continue with the novellas from this collection. I think I'd started Stuck With You on the weekend. So I finished that up on Monday, and then I went straight into, no, this is Stuck With You, sorry, and then to Below Zero. Both these are all by Holly Hazelwood, and this is the STEMinist novellas. So I listened to them all on audio. The Stuck With You was done by Meg Sullivan, and Below Zero was done by Savannah Peachwood. So overall, all the narrations were fine. These were all really cute, kind of rom-com-y kind of things. Mostly about, it was almost always antagonists or rivals or enemies to lovers kind of situations, and then things change. I think the first one is still my favorite. Stuck With You was kind of the protagonist. I didn't really kind of connect to her, but I liked him a lot. I liked Eric. And they had a situation where they had this great bond, and then something happened, and she was mad at him and then didn't talk to him for a few weeks, and then they get stuck in an elevator. So you get this this one is a back and forth one in time to see that. And then Below Zero did kind of the same thing. I understood why we did it in this one. I didn't, I guess it kind of works for this one too. I'm glad the first one didn't have that. It wouldn't have worked for that one. But, and then Below Zero, we're following, I can't remember their names right now. Is she the Hannah one? I don't remember. I think so. And she, is in Norway and is trapped out, or she fell into a crevice, and so she is pretty much thinking she's gonna die, and the one person who comes to rescue her is the guy that she had a connection with, again, many years ago, but then things have happened where in work situations where they kind of become enemies, and he's the one who comes to rescue her. So it's their story as well. So overall, I liked all these. I think the first one was my favorite overall, but I still found them fun. The audiobooks were easy to listen to and to get through. I did really enjoy this. So I got to check off one book off of my Read What You Own, which I did. I checked off I am checking off books that I DNF. So this one also counts because I did give it a shot. The other one was already a read book, so that didn't count. But these two so far are ones I can check off that I are on your Read What You Own. Even though I listened to 3 different novellas within it separately from my Libby app. So anyway, I really enjoyed these. Love Hypothesis is still my favorite of her books. I do have the next book, Love on the Brain. I don't own Love theoretically yet, but you know, if I continue to enjoy them, I might pick that up. I'm going to read the next one and see what happens at some point. So anyway, just fun rom-com-y kind of thing. I then finished my reread of Glow by Raven Kennedy. This is the 4th book in the Plated Prisoner series. So I really am enjoying rereading this series because, again, it was only a year ago, but I read so many so quickly then. It was nice to come back and reread these. So this is technically what I think will be my last reread for the year, but except for one book, which I'll talk about in the books I'm going to start reading. But it's the last of the big ones. Again, because this was like over 700 pages. I reread this book. Like, I'm in this Read What You Own challenge, and I reread all these really big books, which is hilarious. Anyway, but these are fantasy romance series that follows, it's kind of a retelling, kind of taking some inspiration from that. It's a great world building. It grows and grows in the books. The first book is a lot shorter, and it's pretty slow compared to the rest of the books. There's so much stuff happens in all these books. So many things happened in this book. I think 3, Gleam, is still my favorite just because of everything that kind of comes to a head in that book, because it's a great middle book of the series kind of thing. So as I said, this is book 4, and I reread the whole series in the last couple weeks in order to prepare myself for Gold that came out this last week. So anyway, so I finished that reread. Again, big chunky book. I don't know what I'm doing when I have all these books I want to get to. The next audiobook I listened to was How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis. So this was a really short audiobook. I think the book would be very short as well. It's like 156 pages or so. And it's really, the subtitle is A Gentle Approach to Cleaning and Organizing. And I think this is really a very soft look at kind of giving yourself permission not to be perfect in cleaning your house and being caught up on everything here. So she has a lot of things in her life because she's a mother, and she had a lot of things going on with her mental health and stuff. And then she's trying to kind of give you permission to just do what you can and then just kind of move forward. Don't be so negative to yourself or call yourself names for not being perfect at keeping house or cleaning up everything or being on top of everything. Like, there's dirty dishes in the sink, and you know, you have bunches of laundry to do, and you know, like, you haven't dusted in forever, you know, kind of thing. And she was really gentle about it, of, you know, just letting people be able to do what you can in small increments when you can, and not make it like a whole, you have to clean the whole house every week or as you go, or whatever way works for you, and not, you don't have to do what everybody else does, kind of thing. It was really a short book. I would recommend it if you were feeling overwhelmed with your housework, and in a way to just kind of give yourself permission to not beat yourself up about it. I guess that was it. It was really a nice way to not not hate yourself over how your house looks, kind of thing. And and all of us get overwhelmed at certain points, and sometimes that has to be the thing that that you're behind on. So anyway, I thought it was a really good audio, and it had come in through the library, and I just on my Libby app, so I listened to it because I had finished the some of those other novellas I had. And then I picked up a few books in a row of books that I have started earlier this year and tried to finish. These are part of the currently reading stack of books that I wanted to get off my currently reading before the end of the year. I will have the video linked down below if you want to see what was all stuck on my TBR at the end of November that I knew I wanted to get done by the end of the year. So I'm making progress through it. I knocked off a few. What the Hex by Jessica Clare is one that I had started, I think, in September or October. I can't remember which month. So it wasn't quite so long ago. So this one I was able to restart from where I'd stopped. I had stopped about 78 pages in. It was just because I'd read too many books kind of like this. And I just was like, I just didn't feel like finishing this one because it isn't my favorite of the two books that Go Hex Yourself is the first one, is the first book in the Hex series. I'm hoping there's going to be more books, but I'm not sure if there is going to be or not. I haven't seen anything on it. So this is following Penny, and she is on a list of people who are going to be familiars for warlocks and witches. And she's like way down in the list because there are so many people waiting to become familiars, because once they become a familiar, then they can learn magic, and then they become the warlocks and witches. And it's, there's all this magic stuff to it. It's a cool little, witchy world kind of thing. But she is in this society of all these familiars who are wanting to become familiars who are not yet, but they are in line to, because their family legacies or whatever. And she kind of on a slide decides to take a chance, and this warlock is Willem, and he has been banned from having a familiar for a certain amount of time due to something that happened in his past. And so on the down low, she's going to be his familiar, which helps with his magic, and they're going to pretend to be dating so that nobody thinks that he is doing magic with a familiar, because he's not supposed to, due to these regulations. So it's really cute of them coming together. This is like one of those things where I had real trouble at the beginning, because he is really like just a dick. Like, he's just rude, but he's very much closed off. But when you get his internal thoughts, because this does have a dual POV, you do get that he is trying, like he doesn't want to be cruel or anything. He's just very blunt. And he's had his own traumas and stuff of why he kind of guards himself. And then she is just this, kind of has this bubbly personality, but it's kind of hiding a lot of the insecurities that she has. And she has a pet squirrel too, which was funny. But anyway, and then all of a sudden somebody is also trying to hurt her. And they're not sure if it's because of him or because of her. And, it's a kind of there's a mystery that got thrown in here, which was really fun. And that's when I really started to like this, is that when there was this mystery, there's this, element of something is going on and we don't know what's happening, or why. So, I like their growing relationship. It did take me a while to like them as a couple, but, I think, once we got to know them farther in, it made more sense of how stuff was. I think it's really well written. I still like Go Hex Yourself better, but I still like this one, so it was a good continuation. And again, I love fake dating situations, so it was funny that way. So anyway, so I finished that one, and then I picked up To Marry a Scottish Laird by Lindsay Sands. So this is book 2 in the Highland Bride series. I had started this one in May. And I just put it down because I wasn't really enjoying the direction it was going, or what I thought was going to happen. But I decided to restart this one, and I actually started over from the beginning, and I listened to it on audio from Libby. So it was done by Kieran Elliott. So it was really interesting because this is, historical romance, and the narrator was a man through the whole thing. I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, I did really like the characters in this one. Cam is traveling and he sees this boy getting beat up by some thugs, and so he saves him, but again it turns out to be Joan, who is going in secret from England to Scotland, and she's dressed up as a boy to hide that. So there's that time where he doesn't know that she's a girl and they're traveling together because he was injured and she helped him after this whole thing. And then, after he finds out he's a girl, it kind of goes into a different direction between them. And then again, things that happen when she gets to Scotland, because she's carrying a message from her mother who had passed away, and she's supposed to give it to this other person, McKay, and who is actually the characters from the first book, An English Bride in Scotland, which was good. I like that there was a cross, that the two books kind of connected. Anyway, things kind of go in a whole nother direction after that. And then this one had a surprising mystery in it as well, where all of a sudden some accidents start happening and people are getting hurt and killed. So it was got kind of suspenseful there in the last half. I was kind of surprised at how it changed. I did kind of figured out, only because I spoiled myself in another way, which I looked up to see who was in the next book, and I didn't think about that. I shouldn't have done that until after I finished the book, because it kind of told me the character I thought it would be wasn't, and then I gave it away. I figured it out. But other than that, it was really fun. I think it was just a fun historical romance. Again, it doesn't give dates, but I'm just thinking historical. I don't know. It was just fun. Anyway, so I will continue to the next one, which I don't remember the name. A Highlander Takes a Bride. So as I said, I own all these already. I bought them all used last year with the hope that I would read them all this year, but this one kind of got me stumped. So I will, as I said, I'm going to continue on with that series, which again, I just continue my series. And then the last one I finished, is this it? Yeah. So I did finish The Tropic of Serpents, a memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. So this is book 2 in the Lady Trent series. I listened to this on audio by Kate Reading. Or Reading. Is it Reading? Reading. I don't know. Anyway, this was, okay. So I really enjoyed A Natural History of Dragons, the first book. I read it when it first came out, and then I got another copy, actually as a present from TNL the Books, for one of my birthdays, I think last year, I think. I don't know, one of the birthdays I got it for, and I reread that, and because I wanted to continue the series. So I did start this. When did I start this year? I think it was in June. Anyway, I got about, what did I get? I think I got 100 pages in. Maybe not quite that far. I don't remember. I got quite a bit into it. But no, about 122. That's right. It was 122 pages. I'd gotten 122 pages in, and I just did not like the way the direction of this book was going. And I set it down and I had not picked it up. I actually considered just DNFing it straight out and just not even touching it again. But I do own the audiobook as well. I got it on a Kindle or a sale of some sort at some point. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just listen a little bit more. I'll listen to a couple chapters. So was it Friday? I think I did. I had finished the Highland, this one. I'd finished this audiobook, and I had a little bit time at work. I thought, well, I'll just listen to a chapter or two and see how I feel. And I listened to it, and I was like, I don't know yet. I'll wait until Saturday, and I'll listen to a couple more chapters. And then yesterday, when I did my errands and stuff around lunchtime, I listened to more of it, and I kind of got back into it. And when I came home, I just decided to finish it out. So this is one of those books where I did not need to finish this book. I actually feel like I wasted my time by returning to this book. I should have just DNF'd it and got rid of this book and one of the other books that I have. I'm not going to get rid of the book that I got as a gift, but because I still like that book, but I really did not like this book. This one did a lot more of the thing that I really hate in when a narrative style is giving you a story and it's told from an older point of view, telling you about what something happened. And they do, if we had known, if, I didn't know that this was going to go this way, but if I had, I would have done this. Or if he says, well, I didn't know that this would react, but then, years later, it's going to cause this. I don't want to know that stuff. That stuff actually, this annoyed me because it is giving away stuff that it's like, to me, it's like a sign saying, hey, this is important. It's going to happen later. It's going to, show up. This is something you need to remember. I don't need those kind of hints. I'm sorry. I just don't. And it always has annoyed me when I get a perspective like that, that's telling a story from the past and they're intersecting, hey, this is important. This is going to affect later, or, and I just don't like it. So that was the main thing. It's always been a pet peeve of mine in writing. I have done, as I said, I've written a lot of stuff just on my own. And I like more when you're doing a perspective, telling a story, you're in that moment with them. And even though it's past tense in the writing, again, you're with them. You're not having them tell you, hey, this is going to be important for later. This is, if I'd known, I would have done something differently. Yeah, we do that all the time. If I'd known something I would do something differently, but I don't need you to tell me that. Let me see how the story plays out. And I will, if I don't get it, I'll go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure most of us will get that, hey, that was an important point. If they had done something differently, it would have gone differently. I don't know how to, anyway, that's a pet peeve. Okay. The other thing about this one is that this is very much, this narration style has not very much dialogue. Again, this is from a memoir perspective. She's writing her memoir, and people who write their memoirs are not going to be able to tell you have a lot of dialogue. So there is dialogue in here. Don't get me wrong. That's not in there. Because again, that makes sense for when you're writing about your memoir and trying to put people with dialogue and stuff. I just feel like I found that most of the action that it was just mostly was narrative, and it wasn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel like it really moved well for me. I felt like that was where it kind of dragged, because you were just being told what was happening, and I didn't really get, it didn't give me the sense that I was seeing it, or, like it was showing. And again, that's a smaller thing, because I think you can get away with that with this kind of how the narrative is put together. And I knew that going in, so it's not like I didn't know about that. It's just, I noticed it more and more as the story got on, especially when it got towards the climax. I was like, wow, I feel like she's just telling me stuff. It's not, to me, it didn't play out, in a way that was, or I was really enjoying it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this did not work for me. This series is done for me. Again, 2 series that I have DNF'd. I have so many series. There's no problem. I feel so bad because so many people like this one, and I really did like the first book overall, but it still had the same kind of problems, but they weren't quite as pronounced as in this book. And I just didn't like the little sprinkling of, hey, this is going to be important later. I hate that stuff. Like, I hate it. I've never, I don't want those. Like, I don't mind you giving like hints, like, but in something, like, not so obvious. Anyway, so, I'm getting rid of that book. It was a used copy I got off of, eBay, I think, anyway, so it's not a big deal. So, and then I got one book that's like a companion novel that comes later that I got, I think, the one order I made from Book Outlet. So I'll get rid of that too. Anyway, so it's just not the series for me. It's very sad because it's really pretty, the pictures in here. And there's a couple of drawings. I'm probably not going to be able to find one just because I said that. No, I'm not going to find one. Anyway, but there are some pictures in there. But it's just, to me, it wasn't worth it. So what am I currently reading? I am currently reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. So I came back to this one and reread the first 100 pages where I had stopped. And then I stopped on that page 101 actually because of something that happens, and I didn't, like, I just shook my head and went, what the heck? But I read it the second time and I caught a lot more stuff of, you know, of going up to that point. So then I'm like, okay, it wasn't quite so bad as I thought. So I am rereading this. I'm just about 100 yeah, I'm just over that. I made it to 108 pages. So I got past the chapter that I had trouble with, and one more, I think I read one more chapter past there, and it was really interesting where the direction of this is going. So now I'm very intrigued to continue on. I've been wanting to read this all year, and I haven't, you know, made time for it. And so I did start this in September, I think. And then as I said, I put it down because I was reading a lot at the time and I don't remember what happened. But anyway, so except for that, I had trouble with that chapter. And this time around, it worked better for me. So this is following Emily, who is from Cambridge, and she is trying to get this encyclopedia of fairies put together. So she travels to Norway. Is it Norway in this one? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I get confused because I just read that the other Ali Hazelwood talked about Norway. Anyway, so some little island, and she is there to look at for their hidden ones, or the fae that are there. And right off, there's some weird things going on there with that. And then while she is just settling in, she's only been there a little bit, and she's not really getting along with anybody really, because she's kind of in her own. She is not used to dealing with other people all that much. One of her colleagues, is it Wendell Bramby? I think is how it says his last name. He shows up with some of his students to also join and help her try to get her research done, because she only has so much time because she wants to get it done. And it's just funny, the things that happen. So it's really funny. She's there with her dog Shadow, who is a really big dog and stuff, and just kind of hanging around. It was just, so there's a lot of interesting things because it has to do with the fae, and then this small town that she, and then their interactions. And I think it's just going to be, you know, Emily's kind of growing to meet those people and stuff, and then having to deal with Wendell. Anyway, so far, so cute. Again, whoa, as I knock over the camera. Sorry about that. Anyway, so I'm hoping to read that today. And then the only other book that I'm in the middle of is, I actually started Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. So this came in from my library. I put a hold on it like last month sometime. I had decided that I wanted to try it. I kept hearing good things about it, even though when it first came out, I got it from the library and I read a little bit of it one day because I had to return it because I just never got to it. It's never the right time when these really big, massive books come in from the library and I try to read them. And I didn't have time. So I thought, well, let me just read a little bit and see what I thought. And I was like, I don't know about this. But I got the audiobook. Oh, which I didn't write down who that is. I will have it for next. I'm only about 7% in, so what am I like? I think I'm like 50 pages in. I'm not very far in. So far, I'm really actually enjoying it. I'm actually surprised. I have not read anything by Jay Kristoff himself. I did try Illuminae back when I first started book 2 because that was so popular, and I did not get along with it because it was teenagers being idiots. Anyway, what is that to me, it was just bad. I couldn't do it. My personal opinion. But so I hadn't read anything else by him. But this one I'd heard some really good things about it, especially some people had read it recently. And then again, when I know the second book is about to come out. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll give this a chance. So I got the audiobook and I pushed it off a couple of times because I wasn't ready because I was reading other stuff. And then this time I'm like, let's just try it. And if I like it, I'll listen to it. If not, I'll get rid of it. And then somebody else can take the Libby out, take the copy from Libby. But when I started it on, I started this Friday, I kind of liked it, and I listened to it on the way home. And then yesterday when I was on my, I listened to the other one. Oh, in the morning I did go get coffee. So I did listen to them then and got a little farther in, and I really am enjoying this. I didn't pick it up so far today because I was in the car with my brother to get groceries, so I didn't have the guy running. But this is a story about a world where there is no, the sun doesn't really shine, and vampires are pretty much taking over. And so we're following a man, Gabriel, who we're getting he's a prisoner and probably going to be executed, and he is the last of his kind, or of this order, and they are there to Kitty, what are you doing? Anyway, and he is there being interviewed by one of the vampires. And now again, this was at first I thought this was going to be more Name of the Wind like, but so far this is very much the interaction of the storytelling is it's not just the beginning and like at key points. This is like through the narrative, the interviewer is asking the questions and he is answering and then telling his story. So far I really like this. There hasn't been a lot of, if I had known, or I knew this was going to go this way, if I'd known that, I would have done something differently. There's only been a few, but they were like ones I understand, like, somebody didn't tell him something, but he understood why he didn't tell him it then, that he would have to learn later. So of course we don't know what it is yet because he hasn't gone through that yet. Like there are certain things. So far so good. Again, I'm very early. This is like a 739 page book. And I started it right before the end of the year. I'm not doing so hot. Anyway, me trying to finish books, and I start a new really big one. And we'll see what else I want to do. Anyway, but point is that I'm enjoying it. So this will be my audiobook probably through this next week for in my car and probably at work. And we'll see how it goes. I don't know how much of that I'll get done this week, but I've started it and I'm liking it so far. I'm actually kind of surprised that I like it. So we'll see what happens. And then after I finish Emily Wilde, I am probably going to pick up Gold by Raven Kennedy, book 5 in the Plated Prisoner series. I am really looking forward to this. Again, it's another 645 page book, but no kitty. But I really want to get through this. This is one of the pre-order that I had for this month. I do still want to read this and get caught up on this series. The next book supposedly comes out in like July. I don't know if that's true, and that will be the final book in this series. But I want to know what happens because, again, after reading Glow, I now remember how big of a cliffhanger that was and how many things were open. So I want to see how that goes in here. So I'm pretty sure this will be a pretty fast read because her writing just flies by. I really, really enjoy her writing, and she's definitely an author that when she finishes this series and goes on to something else, I will probably pick it up because I've really enjoyed this. So I'm gonna probably pick up this one next, and then the two currently reading books that I want to pick up after I finish that one. So hopefully near the end of the week, because again, that's 645 pages, which I probably won't start until late tonight or tomorrow. I'm hoping I get Emily Wilde done earlier today, but we'll see how that goes. I do want to come back to The Brightest Star in Paris by Diana Biller. So this is a historical romance following a ballerina in Paris in 1870s, and she, a man, is his name Benjamin? Oh, Benedict, sorry. He is from America, and he had come over 7 years before, and they'd had kind of a little fling, and then he had to leave. And then she, of course, went on to more, she's very famous now as a ballerina, and he's come back for stuff with him because he's a doctor and he's trying to recruit some people. And when he comes back, they run into each other and they're not sure how to feel about each other, except that she has a problem. She can now see ghosts all of a sudden, and there are problems. So it's kind of, it has this fantasy element of her seeing a ghost and other ghosts later, and then him trying to help her. And then this is connected to The Widow at Rose House, which is a book I read a couple of years ago that I really enjoyed, that also has kind of a ghostly element to it. So they're lightly connected because it's brothers. The main male character in that book is the brother to this one. And so it's not listed as a series in Goodreads, but I would say it's part of a series. Anyway, so I have enjoyed this. I just have to be in the right mood for historical fiction, and I have been reading a lot of fantasy historical fiction. I did read the historical romance though, so I'm hoping to get back to this soon. I'm 100 pages in on this one, so I almost picked this up next to try to read the next half, but I listened to audiobooks rather than read. So I do want to come back to this one. And then the other book that I think I'm going to get after that is Small Miracles by Olivia Atwater. So this has to do with an angel who is kind of like the angel of small deeds or bad deeds or something. And there's like the scale of good and bad. And I don't know if they're trying to help or hinder this other person. I don't remember much of this. I read this in the summer. So this one might be another one I have to restart completely. But it's, I got about 95 pages in, and I put it down because I wasn't really enjoying it, but I want to restart this and read this again. So this is another one I might pick up, but I forgot the last book that I am going to start today, on audio is I'm going to listen to A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I do this every year. There's a group on Instagram that I follow, and every year I sometimes read the other Christmas stories that they do for stuff, but I always join in when they do the Christmas Carol. And today we're supposed to do the stave one, whatever that word is. And so I'll probably listen to that at sometime this afternoon and just knock it out. So I'm going to do that every evening, is listen to the next part. So we'll be done in, I think it's 5 days. Anyway, but I will start that today. So it's another audiobook that I'll be adding. But that is it. I don't know after that, or if what I'll pick up after. I mean, Emily Wilde is today pretty much, and then Gold is probably what I'm going to pick up next, and then we'll see if I feel like picking up another big book, because I have 3 of them. So I have 2 of these small partials that I need to read, and then I have 3 big ones that are still left. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I have so many books, and I want to get them done by the end of the year, and I'm running out of time. But we'll see what I can get done. If some of them go into January, that's how it is. But I'm trying to knock off as many as I can before that. And I'm trying not to start new books, but there's definitely a few that I want to pick up by the end of the year, so we'll maybe slip those in. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so that's it. That's all I got. I think that's it. Right? Yeah. So anyway, let me know what you guys are reading, or if you were doing the same thing as me and trying to get through your books that you've started this year that you haven't finished. I know some people don't like that they don't like, putting all that stuff at the end of the year, but I've always felt that it's kind of a cleansing thing to take December to finish up books that I know I want to read, but I just need to finish them. And sometimes if I'm able to clear out quite a few in December, I won't do all of them. As I said, I think I still have 7 that I need to finish. I don't think I'm going to make it through all of them due to how big they are. But if I can get through most of them, then that means I'm only carrying over a book or 2 into the next year. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, I think that's it. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.